Coming out swinging with a budget price tag and a wild cast of characters, Anarchy Reigns is a forceful beat-em-up where distinctively styled badasses turn their eyes toward brutal online competition. Does this PlatinumGames project find the secret formula for a genre that used to dominate the 2D era? Or are the good ideas lost in the chaos?
What is an official from the city doing out here?
Beginning with an altercation in a bar, the game's offline action begins with the choice between one of two characters, Jack or Leo. Both men hope to find the renegade agent Maximilian Caxton, and it's not just legions of mutant goons that stand in their way. Anarchy Reigns hits the player with a surprising number of cutscenes and unskippable dialogue sequences, creating a hyper-trophied story that rivals the bulk of the game's ridiculously muscled protagonists. Unfortunately, it just gets in the way. It's awkward and uninteresting, despite some flashy cutscenes.
You will continue story later.
I simply love your eye! Latest BPS tech, am I right?
Anarchy's two-sided single-player mode offers a substantial amount of action and variety, but the structure isn't exactly ideal for its purpose. The free-roaming stages are large, but they're not much fun to explore. Enemies are more of an annoyance than a threat, the environment isn't interesting to navigate, and there's just nothing worthwhile to discover as you earn points to unlock more missions. And by picking out two-star characters, you're stuck with the same guy for long periods of time, and you don't learn any new moves or grow any more powerful. You're occasionally offered the chance to control a teammate for a single mission, but you're largely unable to experiment with the broad stable of fighters even as you unlock them for use in the game's multiplayer mode.
Ooh, shiny!
It's also possible to unlock new characters by ranking up via participation in multiplayer matches, although the long grind makes it evident that clearing the campaign is the easy way. The number of different match types is impressive, ranging from the insanity of 16-player battle royales to more intimate 2-on-2 tag matches and objective-based events like Capture the Flag or the surprisingly enjoyable Death Ball. All the modes technically work, but there's no question that the more chaotic match types outstrip the limitations of a fighting system that has difficulty dealing with more than one target at a time.
You know we're gonna win this, so why don't you just tell us where Max is now?
While it's great to have so many different ways to play, it can be difficult to find the exact type of game you're looking for using the in-game search options. Expect to spend some time waiting for your match to start even if you're not picky, and realize that finding enough players to get in a round of Death Ball a few months after release could sadly be a sketchy proposition.
Let's hope they don't live up to their reputation.
Punching dudes and dudettes to death in Anarchy Reigns isn't incredibly complex, but there is a bit of room to learn the systems and develop interesting tactics. The 16 characters each have a few signature moves and animations, but you'll probably notice groups of them share the same basic template, and the entire cast relies on a broad set of universal commands, such as jumping attacks and a space-clearing 360 attack. The standardization keeps the learning curve shallow, and while no character really feels unique, there is at least some measure of variety. Landing basic attacks and combos fills a bar for each character's so-called deadly weapon, like a giant spiked bat or a pair of arm blades, that's capable of doing some heavy damage as long as you have juice left in the meter. You'll occasionally find items like shields and guns in chests scattered across the battlefields, and a rampage move that's activated once you've done enough damage lets you turn on hyper mode and brute force your way through an opponent's defenses. Combat in Anarchy Reigns is satisfying the majority of the time. You lock onto your opponent and begin the dance of guarding and dodging, all while waiting for an opening. You can juggle airborne opponents for extra damage, and landing a throw or power blow feels impactful and satisfying. You really feel like you have the tools to isolate someone and punch them to death until they explode, but dealing with multiple opponents at once is another matter. Most of your attacks are focused and cover a narrow range, and changing lock-on targets can be awkward, leading to graceless whiffed attacks in campaign mode and blindside ass-kickings when you're surrounded by ruthless human opponents online. As frustrating as it sounds, this is more of a minor shortcoming than a complete game breaker. Everyone online is working with the same tools you are, and no character seems to possess an overwhelming advantage. Oftentimes you'll find yourself fighting what feel like fair, satisfying matches. Offline, other types of gameplay, in addition to the lackluster business of peon pounding, offer a break from brawling to indulge in activities like giant mutant riding, firing a mobile turret, or fighting off a giant electrified squid. Not every mode or activity is created equal, but the good generally outweighs the awkward, and the game stays well clear of the incompetent or just plain bad.
So what's next? will meet again!
There's no denying that PlatinumGames has a sense of style, most evident in their stylish title screen that showcases the outlandish, larger-than-life cast and the brutally choreographed combat animations you'll see during actual fights. But while the art design is visually stimulating, the game's technical performance is inconsistent, with visual glitches and some areas and characters that don't quite hold up. The game's music matches the eclectic style of the visuals, with a fairly diverse soundtrack largely dominated by aggressive electronic sounds and rappers well tuned to the game's theme, spitting lyrics related to mutants, violence, nanomachines, and getting paid. The presentation is rough in some places and smooth in others, but there's a lot to like here.
This must be my lucky day.
Anarchy Reigns throws a lot of blows, and while it's sometimes recklessly off target, this is a talented and capable fighter at its core. The budget price tag makes it easier to forgive some of the game's more obvious problems, and the game succeeds in creating a modern online beat-em-up with a solid balance of depth and playability. If you enjoy a good brawl and have the guts to step to a formidable level of online competition, you'll probably find it's worth it to roll with the punches.
You're not answering my question.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.